Hey, what's up, guys? Dustin Heiner with Master Passive Income, and I want to talk to you about and help you to learn how not to get burnt out in your business, in your real estate investing, in your working your job, getting a side hustle, as well as trying to get to where you can be successfully unemployed. Because easily you can get burnt out. In fact, I was literally working my business. I was working my real estate investing. I was working a full-time job, plus I had 3 or 4 kids. All that combined, I was working so hard, and I started burning the candle at both ends. But then I learned something about the P/PC balance, and I want to share with you how that has helped me as well as how it can help you. Now, the P/PC balance is basically, it was brought forward a little bit ago by a man named Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey wrote a great book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, this book has so many great things, but what really comes down to, out of everything that I took away from it, was the P/PC balance. Now, the way I'm going to explain it to you is with a fable. A fable is basically a fairy tale, a story that has a principle in it as well. So before I get into the PC balance, let me tell you this fable. Now, this fable is about the goose that laid the golden egg. You may have heard of that when you were a little kid, but this also has a really good principle for us as business owners, not just little kids. Now, the way this fable goes about the goose that laid the golden egg, there's a farmer. He has many animals, and he's walking through the farm one morning, and he's checking on all his animals. Well, he comes across one of his goose. His goose had actually laid a golden egg. He pulls it up and says, "Oh my goodness, here's a golden egg." And he's thinking it's not real. So he actually takes the egg and gets it checked. Takes it and they check it out, and it's actually 100% 24 pure gold, 24 karat pure gold. And he's like, "Woohoo, this is awesome, I'm rich." Then he goes back and then he takes the goose. And after day, the goose keeps laying eggs. And the goose he's taking so much care of the goose. He's feeding it well. He's singing lullabies to it, all that sort of stuff. He might not have been doing that, but he's really taking care of the goose. And he starts to collect all these eggs, these golden eggs, and he starts spending it. And then he's thinking, you know what? There's so many golden eggs inside of this goose. I need this goose to actually produce more, but it's not going any faster. Let me just open up that goose and pull out those eggs instead of just waiting day after day. So what he does, he literally cuts off the head of the goose, opens it up, and realizes there's no eggs in there. Oh my goodness. The goose that was actually laying the eggs was the one producing and creating the eggs. Now, number one, he doesn't have any goose. He doesn't have that goose anymore. And number two, he doesn't have any more golden eggs. So he killed the thing that was actually making the eggs for him. Now, when you think about this, how this would affect us, we want something, which would be, let's say, the golden egg, but we have something that's producing those golden eggs. We need to make sure we're putting enough balance into each one. And here's where it comes into the P/PC balance. The P is production, the actual production that is coming out, and this PC, so remember it's P/PC, the PC is production capability, how much you could actually produce. Now, the P, the production, is what is coming out, but the capability would be the goose. So the P is the egg, the golden egg, and the PC, the production capability, would be the goose. Now, here is what it would basically boil down to. This whole entire fable comes down to, if you kill off your production capability, whatever's making that production, whatever you produce is going to be gone or drastically diminished. You don't want to do that. You want to take care of your production capability as well as your production, like what is actually being produced. If you too much focus on the egg, the golden egg, and you kill your goose, which is the production capability, you kill that, you lose the egg and you lose the goose. Or on the flip side, which kind of seems kind of interesting, if you only focus on the goose, you do not even pay attention to the golden egg, you just throw it away. You're just so focused on this goose to keep producing, but you do not take care of what is produced, what is being produced, then you lose out as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this balances out. The P/PC, and this is the balance part, we want to make sure we balance every area in our lives. And we can take this fable of the goose that laid a golden egg and apply it to ourselves in our businesses, in our investing, in our family, our marriages, our relationships. We can actually apply it every single place in our life. So let's get into it. Now, let me give you a really easy way for you to understand how this actually works. Now, if you bought something that you would use as a tool, let's just give you an example. You bought a lawnmower. one day you put a couple $100s down, you buy a decent lawnmower, and then you start mowing the lawn. Like, great, the production capability is the lawnmower. The production, like what's actually being produced, is the cutting of the lawn, making sure the lawn looks good. Well, you are so focused on making the lawn look good. You're cutting the lawn every other day, or maybe once a week, but you're doing it year after year, continually. Man, I so love this production. My grass looks fantastic. But you neglect the lawnmower. You don't clean it. You don't change the oil. You barely put gas in it when it finally runs out. Maybe you don't change the spark plugs. You don't sharpen the blade. You don't do anything to the lawnmower. Year after year, or over time, eventually that thing wears down and will eventually break. Now, if you do not pay attention to the production capability of the lawnmower, eventually your lawn will not be taken care of because your lawnmower is broken. Then you have to go and buy a whole brand new lawnmower instead of, what if you just fixed the lawnmower little at a time? You wiped it down. You actually cleaned it. You sharpened the blade. You changed the oil. You actually did regular maintenance on the lawnmower, just like you're paying attention to your goose, making sure your goose is well fed. You're not killing it, but you are also paying attention to the production. Now, if you ran that lawnmower into the ground, just like killing the goose, you eventually would not have a lawnmower to even cut your grass. Now, it also translates into your own personal life. You as a person would have, like, say, financial understandings on how to do things financially. What about your health? What about your relationships? So let's get into all of those. Now, financially, if you are focusing too much on the money in your life, but you're not focusing on your job, the production capability, you would eventually run out or get fired from that job. So you could not even actually make that money. But on the flip side, if you only focus on your job and continually work, but you're not living the life that you want to with your family, with your friends, and doing things that you love with the money that you earn, you're living just to work. And we don't want to live just to work. In fact, I love the acronym JOB. Your job is a JOB. It is keeping you just over broke. You're just over broke because your boss is only paying you just enough to keep you working, but not too much that takes money out of their pocket. That's more than they would want to give. And so what they would do is they pay you for that hour. Now, if you're working day in, day out, and you're not living for yourself, you're not, basically you're burning the candle at both ends. If you have a candle, a wick over here and another wick over here, you burn them at both ends, and eventually it's gone faster than if you burned it on one end. We don't want to do that. Now, also in relationships, let's say you're so focused on a relationship with your spouse and you're actually neglecting your kids, or the vice versa. You're focusing so much on your kids and you're neglecting the others. This is all about having a balance in your life. You have one thing and a tug and a pull from both sides. But what you want to do is you want to be able to balance all that. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. Also, one other thing is, let's say you're physical, you're like how you appear, how healthy you are. Are you exercising? Are you eating healthy? Are you eating right? Or are you literally just sitting on the couch eating ice cream all day? Those are types of things that we need to look at in our lives. Now, when you're working that JOB, if you are only focusing on the paycheck, but you're not working and focusing on getting better in your job, eventually your job will bypass you and your boss will say, hey, Dustin, he hasn't gotten any better. He's not doing anything worse, but here's a new person I could literally hire and promote that person to the next level. And Dustin, he's fine. Just keep doing what he's doing. He's not improving. And if you are not taking classes, going to courses, actually networking, trying to develop yourself to be better than you actually are now, you're not focusing on the production capability. You're only focusing on the production, basically the money that you're making. We also want to focus on developing ourselves. So our bosses look at us and say, hey, let's give this person a raise. Now, as you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're not so much focusing on the getting better and not focusing on living your life. So that's what you want to do, is you want to balance them both out. Now, we are business owners. I'm successfully unemployed, and I know you want to be successfully unemployed as well. And as we are building our businesses, if we're investing in real estate, having a brick and mortar business or any type of business, this can absolutely and will absolutely fit in. Now, a business would be your goose, and the profits would be the golden egg. If you only focus on the golden egg, like what your profits are in your business, you might cut some corners and do some things that would actually hurt your business. Let me give you an example. Let's say your ultimate goal is to increase profits. Now, that's not a bad thing in itself, But if you do it the wrong way, let's say I really want to increase my profits and I am going to cut my expenses. Now, let's say you had a restaurant that you actually are serving really good food and you're realizing, you know what, I want to actually make a little bit more money. So instead of buying the prime grade A #1 choice or the actual beef, but you go with choice or select a lesser version of it that's not as good, you just lower your expenses, which increase your profits. But over time, you're killing the goose. You're killing the business because customers that would actually come to you and say, you know what, this meat is so good, I'm going to come back. The next time they come back, it doesn't taste anywhere the same. They're like, I might come back again. The first time was good. Then they come back again and it tastes even worse. That's not as good because you're cutting your expenses. Well, your profits might initially raise up because you cut your expenses, but over time, your income will decrease because people realize this guy's killing his golden goose, the goose that laid the golden egg, his business. He's killing it by putting junk in front of us. We're not going to continue to go back and spend money. So over time, you're killing off your business if you sacrifice quality. Now, at the same time, if you only focus on running the business and making it as perfect as possible, getting the best everything, and not looking at your profits, then you run out of money. If you run out of money, you run out of business. You need to have them both hand in hand. Now, I'm a real estate investor. Let's talk about real estate investing. Now, every single rental property that you and I buy makes us and should make us, and here's a big pro tip, you need to be making $250 or more in passive income every single month from every single property. When you buy just one property that's making $250 a month in passive income, you have a tenant in there that's paying for your expenses, all your expenses, even your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, and paying all that, and you're still making money, which is great. Now, if you only focus on the profits, where instead of paying for maintenance, if you're focusing on just on the golden egg, but you're not focusing on the goose, which is your house, you're not repairing the house, you're not repairing the roof, you're not repairing things, you're not fixing things. Tenant says, hey, this thing's leaking, you're not taking care of that. Well, eventually the property will deteriorate and get worse, just like that lawnmower gets worse and worse. Same exact thing with your property. Eventually, over time, your tenants are going to say, I'm paying a lot of money to stay in this junk. I don't want to stay in this place anymore. They're going to find another place and move out, and you won't even get it rented. That's where you're focusing so much on your profits and the golden egg, but you're not focusing on the goose, your house. So you need to also focus on both. Now, if you're only focusing on the house, you're spending so much money, you're not making any money in passive income. In fact, you're probably losing money. So we have to have a balance between them both. And I was able to quit my job and become successfully unemployed because I invest in real estate rental properties. I have 30 plus properties now, making me over $250 in passive income from every property. Now, I want to show you exactly how to do that too. Click on the link below, masterpassiveincome.com/free course, and I will literally give you my free real estate investing course where I'll show you how to find properties, fund properties, how to actually make the business run itself and be automatic and quit your job with that business. masterpassiveincome.com/free course. It's in the description as well. I will literally give that to you to get started. Now, as investors, we are also looking at physically. Are we actually taking care of our bodies? Are we exercising? Are we eating right? Or are we so focused on the production, like running ourselves into the ground, working, and trying to get that production, the money, but we're not working on building ourselves up. We're not working on getting enough sleep. We're not taking care of our family. We're not getting exercise. If we're doing that, we are literally burning the candles at both ends. And just like that lawnmower, we are running our bodies down to the ground. We need to go back and recharge. Now, let me give you a quick story on how this plays out. There's a bunch of lumberjacks in a forest, and their job is to chop down trees. Well, there's this new guy. He's all buff. He's literally just ripped, just huge. And he has this nice brand new axe, and he is ready and gung-ho to start chopping down trees. And he's looking over this old guy. He's like 50, 60 years old. And he's like, man, I'm going to dust this old man. I'm going to cut down at least 10 more trees than he does. And so they both get started. They start hacking away at the trees. And over time, the young guy, the young buff guy, he gets one tree down, then another tree down. And then he starts looking over at the old man. The old man's sitting down. He's like, why are you sitting? He doesn't actually ask this, but he's thinking to himself, why is this old man sitting down? We need to cut down trees. So he keeps on cutting and keeps on cutting. And then he realizes, he looks over the pile at the old man's pile. Because over time, maybe an hour or two, he says, man, the old man pile, his pile is about the same as mine. I better cut faster. I better cut harder. And he sees the old man just sitting down and just playing with his axe. And then over time, another hour, 2 hours goes by, and the old man is actually beating him in the total amount of trees in cut down trees. Now the young guy is looking at him saying, how is this possible? I see him resting all the time. But here I am killing myself trying to knock down these trees, and he is literally beating me. He has at least 10 more trees than I do. Well, what turns out was what the old man was doing when he's resting. Number one, he's resting so he could swing harder. Number two, he's actually sharpening his axe. He's sharpening it to make sure that he can cut very quickly and very well. Because once that axe gets dull, it takes so much more blunt force. It's like taking a baseball bat and trying to cut down a tree. So if we take time, calm down, relax, even get rest, get good sleep, sharpen your axe, sharpen your mind, read books, do all these things, get education, get coaching, do things to make yourself better, you're going to sharpen that axe of yourself to do even more, to make even more money, to be much more proficient in everything that you do. Now, putting it all together, what you want to do in your life is realize there's production capability, which is the thing that's doing the production, and what is the outcome, which is the production, the profits. The business is the production capability. The profits is the production. You want to make sure you take care of both. You don't focus on one over the other. You take care of them both. So you guys are awesome. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell and like button. I really, really appreciate it. It helps me out. If you got anything out of this, I would love it if you did that. And also watch this video right here. I'll see you guys in the next one.